the head. He probably thinks it was the fault of Hagler on that butt.
Now, Davy Pearl is going to have to make a decision on whether it was an accidental or an intentional butt. Is that not right?
That's his decision to make. That's correct.
And if the fight winds up being called because of an accidental butt, it is a technical draw, and Marvin Hagler will retain the championship. A very, very unfortunate thing early in the fight. We expected to see a bloody fight, but we did not expect to see it for the reasons that it was caused.
That was certainly an accidental butt. It wasn't deliberate on the part of anybody. It's just the style of Antifermo who comes in with his head down that way, and that's what started.
Well, you hate to see a championship fight go like that this early. It happened 45 seconds into the first round. There has been not a serious punch thrown, not a punch that has done any damage. It was a butt on the first lunge, if you will, of the fight by Vito Antifermo. There's a lot of blood.
I think that Hagler was equally as surprised as Antifermo when he came out and saw the blood.
It's just a shame, because whatever artistry there might have been in this fight will be for naught.
Well, it might appear to be much worse than it really is. After Freddie Brown works on it, he'll have a better determination.
It will be a frantic 1 minute between rounds, between the first and second round. The first round, I must say, has been an interminable 3 minutes. There is a lot of blood right below the hairline of Vito Antifermo.
The real question is whether the blood is getting into Antifermo's eyes. The cut is not a dangerous cut. It's whether the blood blinds Antifermo, and to this minute, you can't really say that it affected him.
Let's take a look into Vito Antifermo's corner now. It is going to be a frantic 1 minute, no question about it.
Get out. Freddie Brown is going to have to get out the blowtorch on this one.
Now, let me ask you a rather technical question here, Arthur. Can Davy Pearl call what would be the equivalent of a timeout and give them time to repair that because it was an accidental?
No, he cannot do that. No. Freddie Brown has just got to do the best he can to stop that bleeding. And if he doesn't, it's going to interfere, as Larry says, with his sight.
The doctor is sticking his nose in there and examining his eyes, as you can see.
And there is a great discussion going on in the corner right now.
Doctor.
Freddie Brown is saying, stop the fight, no fight. Freddie Brown is telling his man not to fight. Freddie Brown is saying, no fight. That is Panama Lewis in the ring. The crowd is booing.
Freddie Brown and the Antifermo camp is trying to tell the official that Hagler butted him. They're going over to Walter Byers, who's the chairman of the Massachusetts Boxing Commission, to plead their case, and maybe to try to get some extra time for Hagler.
Let's eavesdrop. See if we can hear what's going on.
I don't think the fight will be stopped, however.
The official has said, the referee has said that he wants the fight to go on.
That's correct.
Walter Byers has said the fight should go on. That means that if they don't let the fight go on, Antifermo will be declared the loser.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. But Freddie Brown is the one who insisted that the fight was over with.
Antifermo wants to fight.
Well, I think now what Davy Pearl should do is clear the ring, get Freddie Brown and get that trainer out of there and get the fight going. These two fighters might now, as you see them in the middle of the ring, start fighting.
Behind us, promoter Barb Aram is yelling at the referee to get them out of the ring, or else their fighter will be disqualified. I don't know if Freddie Brown was trying to be clever and save his fighter a few minutes to give that cut a chance or not, or whether he was just excited and genuinely believed what he was arguing about.
I do believe that's true.
Well, he was pretty adamant about it. Round two. They have not been able to stem the flow of blood completely from Vito Antifermo. That certainly will change Antifermo's tactics. Antifermo's just going to have to go out there and get him. There is no further blood.
You'll notice that Antifermo does lead with his head an awful lot. He's got his head up, and he leads in first with his head.
There was no question but that he lunged at Marvin Hagler. And when he came up, there was a nasty cut on the forehead. We then had about a 2-minute debate at the start of round 2, and Hagler sticks him pretty good that time. And a right hand by Antifermo scores. Hagler trying to measure his man. Both fighters are going to have to get their concentration back. There had to be a lapse of concentration during that discussion.
Antifermo is giving all that he can. He's just trying to knock him out with one punch, which is really quite impossible for Zito.
Hagler, of course, has not lost a fight since 1976. Ironically, the 2 fights he did lose in 1976, the only 2 fights he's lost in his career, he lost within a 2-month period. And blood again shows, this time under the eye, actually, of Vito Antifermo. Hagler goes after him, hits him with combination. This has nothing to do with the butt in the first round. Another right hand scores against Antifermo, who now leans in on Marvin Hagler, the champion.
Vito is totally defenseless at this point, and he's got another cut right under the left eye.
And now the cut from the forehead, again showing blood about halfway through round 2. And Hagler continues to pepper the forehead now.
His forehead is not spouting blood as seriously as it did in the first round. That's very important.
Freddie Brown did an excellent job of stopping the flow of blood.
And again, Hagler sticking that right hand on the forehead of Vito Antifermo. But while it looks like there's a lot of blood, there is not as much blood, certainly, as there was in the first round.
Vito keeps coming in continually. If he would try, and of course he can't because that's his style, just to back up a little bit and get a little rest, but he won't do it.
Hagler effectively sticking that right hand in the face of a bloodied Vito Antifermo, who comes back now with combinations to the head and body, but not very effectively. Once again, Antifermo with 2 right hands. And a left hand by Hagler as he has Antifermo against the ropes. Antifermo spins away. And we come to the end of round 2. 2 fighters exchanging words.
Well, this is what is known as a bloody war. Let's see what they're doing in there now if we can get under Freddie Brown's arm. He's applying all of the skill and wile of a half a century in the ring. He stemmed the flow of that blood after that first round with that long delay. He's back on top of it now. Now let's take a look at the butt that caused the bloody flood. There it is right there, as you saw Antifermo jump in. He definitely jumped in. You can see the blood starting to trickle over his left eye right now. There's Antifermo going to it, and he senses it. Very definitely, as we earlier saw it was Antifermo leaping into Hagler.
Yeah, he was leading with his head, not leading with his right or left.
I should point out, Larry Merchant, always the fashion played here, not to indicate that this is a bloody fight, but Larry, folks, is wearing a bib.
A lobster bib.
Round 3 in the meantime. See what a job Freddie Brown has done. Good left hand that time by Hagler. Antifermo also has a cut underneath the left eye.
Hagler's jab is very effective tonight.
And another good right hand right to the eye. And again, another jab. Always on the damaged area. Always on the damaged area. It may not be a pretty scene, but it is the job.
It seems that Hagler...
And there is a left hand that puts Antifermo down. A left hand to the forehead by Marvin Hagler put him right on his backside. Didn't seem to hurt him, seemed to stun him more than it did hurt him.
He didn't seem to know where he was for a moment.
That is only the 3rd time in the career of Vito Antifermo that he has been knocked down. Twice in his last fight. Again, blood showing from the scalp of Vito Antifermo. Showing more in this round, actually, than it did in the last round. Hagler just kind of measuring his man.
Hagler seems quite calm, not excited at all, and is using a great left jab. His jab is just great. That right jab is just scoring at all times at that vulnerable cut.
Hagler, who often will switch to a right-hand style, unlikely to do so in this case because all the damage is to the left side of Vito Antuofermo's face. So you would have to think he would likely stay with that right jab. And coming in underneath the defense that time and staggering Antuofermo once again is Marvin Hagler. Again, Antuofermo coming at his man, trying to smother him. There is blood on Hagler now, too, but it is from Antuofermo. And Hagler again peppering his man 2, 3, 4 times to the face of Vito Antuofermo.
It just seems to be too much head contact, if you'll notice, when on the inside.
And now blood flowing freely again from the forehead of Vito Antuofermo.